Hi, a very good evening to all of you. So today with us, we have Himanshu Tiwari, who has secured his admission at ISI Kolkata. Right, Himanshu? You opted for ISI Kolkata, right?
Yes, sir. I opted for ISI Kolkata and I got it in the first allocation list itself.
Amazing, amazing. So how's the feeling right now?
Yes, sir. I'm pretty relieved and satisfied because, like, as I started my journey, so my goal was completely for ISI Kolkata only. And so
True.
eventually, after 1 year, I gave the exam and I cracked it. So it's a pretty good feeling right now.
Correct, because like I discussed with you earlier as well, as far as I remember, your goal number one was to get into ISI, right?
Yes, sir.
Correct, correct, correct. Okay, so tell us something about your background, Himanshu, because many students nowadays, since IITs have started Masters in Economics, right? And in fact, because of the ISI's MSQE course, many non-eco background student wishes to enter the market, right?
Yes.
The reason I want to ask is if you could just elaborate about your background, that could help other students as well.
Yes. So from 11, 12 standard itself, I'm from science background. And at that time, like, I had almost no idea what was commerce and all. Like I know people choose arts, commerce, and science, but I didn't know what goes on there. And similarly, economics also, I had not much idea what goes on there.
Correct,
So that time I wanted to pursue mathematics. That was my first subject always.
correct.
So to pursue my mathematics, I got into IISER Mohali, where
Hmm.
I pursued my BSMS integrated course there.
Correct.
And after that, I wanted to do mathematics in some real world context. So for ISI quantitative economics is always the top priority for that. That course is pretty like I went through the course structure and also I saw that it pretty much aligns with my goals. So I switched to economics and then joined Eartha Point, and
Right.
so it was a 1 year journey then.
Amazing. Okay, so look, when a student starts, right, and even in your batch, correct? So when you
Yeah,
start and when you're especially coming from a non-eco background, uh, let's say when couple of classes happen, right?
yeah,
So there's something that, like you told, you matlab, didn't knew what exactly is taught in commerce or arts and so on.
yeah.
It's very difficult. So how did you perceive this? Key, my goal is at the end of the day, ISI, okay? Apart from that, you have IITs as well. How did that shift to economics was comfortable for you once you started the journey?
Yes. So actually, before starting in my college, in my third or fourth year, there was a social science elective of principle of economics, which was based on Varian mostly. So I took that course. It was an online semester. So, but I enjoyed that course. It
Right.
was like there were a lot of things fit into that, but I like that. There was bit of micro, there was bit of macro, and there were few classes on game theory. So I did like that, but since it was pretty hectic that time, I didn't get much time to pursue that. So eventually, after 5 years, when I had like there was a lot of time, so I saw what are the options, and also that time itself I knew almost all the colleges, and I thought of giving that exam ISI and all last year only,
Oh,
but due to time constraints and all, I was not much prepared. So eventually, I ended up giving IGIDR because that time they had math stream.
so right.
Yeah, so like I couldn't clear that because I didn't have much of stats and economics.
Correct.
So because of that, I didn't clear that. So after that, I thought I will give full 1 year because I had a bunch of idea of after seeing the syllabus and all what could be done. So, but I saw there were thousands of pages in one book itself, and those were basically foreign author books, and they were not written for exam purpose. So I had to filter out and all. So I thought I will join a coaching and I
Correct.
will go accordingly.
Okay. So because like you know that in case of our basic level, we follow man.
Yes.
In intermediate, we follow Alvarian, right?
Yeah.
Then, of course, in your live classes, Snyder Nicholson, right? So, So what was how did you adapt to that when you start when you look at because it's a huge content.
Yes,
ठीक है अभी भी
yes.
बच्चा जब बोलता है they are like sir इतना सारा content कैसे होगा
हाँ
right
वही.
but the agenda or the purpose from day one of creating this three-level course structure was to make sure that students like you who are coming from non-eco background or the students who are from eco background but were not taught practical in their bachelor's they are able to go through the entire journey. So, how did you see the entire course structure, and how did that help you in your achievements, right?
Yeah. Sir, honestly speaking, I thought I'm coming from math to eco, so I thought thoda relatively easy hoga. So when I joined, ma'am had just completed consumer theory and we were moving to production. So I just joined the advanced class and थोड़ा थोड़ा समझ आ रहा था and I was like कुछ missing सा भी लग रहा है. Like हाँ, it's everything is fine, but फिर when I saw some questions, I thought something is missing. Like then I toned down to basic level. I started from like I didn't attend advanced lectures that time. I started from basic like lecture one, and then slowly that I could follow completely because it was all pretty linear. So
Hmm.
it was pretty like stepping stones and all. So I did complete basic, complete intermediate, and then I started advanced level. So after that, I could do with ma'am whatever she was doing in on live class.
Correct, correct. Because the agenda is to because you can't understand the classes at times when you don't know the background, right?
Yeah, right.
Exactly. So you need to go back to that. Correct.
Yeah, so the language and intuition is pretty important here, other than uh, doing the math part of it, because the a question has such a language that you first need to understand it, convert it into the mathematical form, and then you have to solve it. So that first part of knowing what the question says, that requires a bit of time and patience.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So, how about the style of teaching? What's your feedback on that?
Yeah, so as an outsider, I loved it because it was pretty new, and at any time I didn't feel like it's going above my head or something. So I enjoyed the teaching part. So micro, it was good, and then ma'am taught macro. Towards the end, I saw those Indian economy lectures,
Hmm.
and it was a bit of surprise that a lot of content has to be done in a short time. Because every time I look at a new subject, and then there is some surprise which I'm not expecting, like econometrics or Indian economy.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, great. So because when we discussed, you also mentioned key at times students have some key areas, some strong areas, and
Yes.
even I suggest and tell them that you should save time from those strong areas and put it in the areas where you lack or you feel a bit weak, right? So
Yes.
your strong point from day one was mathematics, correct?
Right.
So I know because when you gave around CUT as well, you told about the feedback of the exam, which was not exactly that much practical paper, and we all agree to the question paper of CUT, right?
Yeah.
How did you adapt or change the strategies from exam to exam, from starting with
Exam.
them? Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the most challenging part because uh, I started with the aim for ISI, but somehow I was into completing the course and covering the syllabus till December. So around first or second week of January, it was almost done. Then I solved GATE previous year papers. Then I came to know that I haven't done econometrics at that level at which they ask, because they always keep on asking some random chapters which they haven't even mentioned in the syllabus. Like this time they asked logic and probit model, which is a bit above level. So I think my entire like half of my January went into doing econometrics that time.
Hmm.
So that time I couldn't. I had previously planned that I would do a bit of JAM previous year practice and some mock test, but I couldn't do that time. So there was very little time. Like I was on the edge every time. So till gate I could do only that, but after that there was 1 week time, and in that time I only did mock papers of JAM.
Oh,
So till JAM I could complete both GATE also and JAM mock test also, and the previous year paper also. Yeah, so at that time I realized that I wasn't practicing much, because when I gave my first JAM mock test, I had only about 25 or 30 marks, and I was in a bit of shock that time that I only have 1 week's time. But in that 1 week, I gave, I think, 9 mocks.
Correct.
So there were sometimes 2 mocks, because it was an issue of more of time management and just
Absolutely.
reading the question faster and solving in just, I think, 3 minutes time. Yeah, so eventually till my ninth mock, I was able to do that. And I think my jam went pretty well. As I said, the Indian economy was not my strong point, and
Ah,
so I lost my marks over there mostly.
that's fair enough. Correct.
Yeah,
So coming to the mocks you mentioned, so
yes,
I know almost for every students, they struggle in the very first mock itself
yeah,
because we have already set the bar very high. We
yes,
want, in case any student is kind of overconfident, okay, or if they are taking it a bit lightly, they should be grounded, right? So that
yes,
they understand. And like you mentioned, so I told, in fact, the students who asked कि I'm not getting the score in the mocks, right? I told them, जो आपको भी यहाँ पे marks आ रहे हैं, you will get more than those marks in your actual exam.
yes,
That was the bottom line, right? So how was the quality of mocks according to you for
yes.
game?
I think it was pretty good, because I was doing the theory and all only throughout till January. So I did some of the assignments, but not that much. So problem solving was a bit on the lower side. That's why. And also another point was that we have jam immediately after gate.
1 week's
So
time, exactly.
yeah, so the gate may there is not much of time issue. So I was used to that time
Yeah.
thing. So immediately when I switched to jam, then I felt the time was not much, and so I had to speed up. But yeah, the mocks helped me a lot in that, because I think my theory and all everything was clear, concepts were clear, but the time issue and all, because sometimes the marks didn't reflect that I knew the thing, but due
Mm.
to time issues I couldn't complete that. So the mocks helped me in that.
Amazing. Okay. So like we discussed at that time as well with ma'am when we saw your results for JAM, correct? And last day before yesterday also I talked to you because
Yeah.
we were expecting you have certain students when you expect yeah, a lot from them, especially when the paper is quantitative, ठीक है, and you are good
Yes.
at quantitative aspect as well. So we expected that. So what was your reflection post the result of JAM and how you carried forward that confidence? Because I saw your rank fairly good, ठीक है, कोई इतना नहीं था, it was a good attempt, but I want my students to carry on the momentum and do not feel a bit lagged for the coming exams. So how did you took that result and how did you encourage yourself to move forward for the coming exam, especially the ISI MSQE?
Yes. So after gate and jam, when the answer key was out, my marks were almost same in both, like between 50 to 55 in both. But I like there was an urgency in me to know what will be the rank and all, and I was always like it always went me at the background, like what will be there. And so I wasted a bit of time in that, like trying to see around what others have scored and all.
Right.
So yeah, so since it was my first two exams, so I was looking how I had performed, because I couldn't get an idea what was the thing, because last year the paper was quantitative compared to this time. So and this time I couldn't do those multiple select questions, because I think they were survey questions and all, and I hadn't seen them before, so I left those. So I thought that I could have got more, but since that those questions I couldn't do, so yeah. But after that, we immediately had CUET. So after jam I completely switched to problem solving. After that I never looked at the books for revision and all. I got an idea that I can improve only by problem solving. So I gave all your mock tests, and I did all the previous year questions from whatever, I think 21, 22, and 23. And then ma'am had organized those revision sessions also. So I think those were helpful. But then again, CUT was a surprise, and I think the two things which I was preparing for was the Indian economy and all, and I think they stuck to micro and macro mostly.
Right.
Yeah, so there also it was more of a game of an accuracy thing. So I made some silly mistakes over there.
That's okay. That's okay. Okay. So, Himanshu, now you have also given IIT Delhi and IIT Kanpur as well. Will
Yes.
say Kolkata is your final choice, or in case the other results go in your favor, would you be shifting?
No, I said Kolkata is my final choice.
Oh,
Yes.
great, great. That's for the students who think कि drop होगा ISI में cut off. So students have confirmed they're gonna stick to their seats and they're not gonna shift for sure. Acha, Himanshu, what after ISI? So what's your target like? Are you gonna go to research work or PhD or the government services? What exactly on off?
Like currently, I've kept it to corporate because I don't know the subject deeper enough to make a decision on the research or those civil service sites. So
Okay.
currently, I'm keeping to that. I will explore more in my college, and then if I get interested enough, then I might shift.
Correct, correct. That's fair enough. To just enter the industry,
Yes.
look at the scenarios, different cases, and then you will understand, and definitely you're gonna succeed for sure. And now, some tips or suggestion for students, because just like the way you started, the new batch has started. Okay, 2 weeks हो
Yes.
गए हैं. And any suggestions for not only our students, but in general, if you could give any suggestions for them for their preparations for 2025.
Okay, I think there are enough suggestions available on the internet, but one thing where I was stuck, where I keep asking everyone and anyone on the LinkedIn and like how to start with ISI, like there is no fixed material or something. So what should we do and all? So whoever I ask, they just say do past year papers, do past year papers. But I thought like something is missing. There should be something more. But then I also gave up. Like okay, let's do with past year papers. So I started from 2023, and I think I asked you how much is enough. Then I think I eventually did till 2004.
Correct.
So the point. So I understood what everyone was trying to say. So doing those past year papers is enough, but after doing that you will also get to know how you need to study after that, because after doing you will see there is some kind of pattern, there is some kind of repetition, there are some techniques which get used repeatedly. Like this time there was this fifth question which I think everyone who appeared or was giving the interview this time, everyone had did that fifth question, because the intertemporal and all, I think they keep asking every time, and so people who do past year papers, they are familiar with those type of questions. And this after doing past year paper, sometimes what you can do with like what I do is just copy paste the question on the internet, and sometimes you get some assignment from some other universities which has similar type of questions. So I think that builds up on the question bank. And some for subjective purposes, Snyder, FMG, these all back questions are pretty good. So if one can practice from them, that's good. But I think if one does past year papers, they will know how to go forward from there.
True, true. Great,
Yes.
great. So I guess exactly. So usually when someone in particularly starts for ISI, their aim is to kind of go through the past years as much as possible. Again, no fixed criteria. And then of course the mock papers and the additional questions subject to you have the time availability. That is very important in terms of strategy. Take care. Great. Okay, Himanshu. So just some final words on the entire structure of ours, so that because now I see students when they start the preparation, some of them wishes to go start directly from the live lectures, okay?
Yeah.
And they fail to understand the fact you can go as long as you have your strong bachelor's in eco. But if you lack at any point, then you need to start from scratch, because if you don't, then at the end of the year, November, December, May, you might feel there is a tons of content to be done.
Yes.
So anything, if you could just sum up the entire course structure for the students. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the point I completed my basic structure, the intermediate structure, and the advanced structure. Like even I am from a math background, but still I completed the mathematics also. Like there was some part which I hadn't seen before, like optimization and all. So that part. So I think basic, intermediate, and all. If even if you're from an economics background, it's a good thing. You can brush up on things. And you can encounter something which you haven't done very well in your maybe bachelor's and all.
Yeah.
So I think it's a pretty good structure. I think if you complete those, after that you just need to solve previous year problems, uh, and eventually I think with the continuity and all, you will clear the exam.
Correct. Okay. Just going to hear directly from you, so that student, at least if they don't hear me, आपसे जब सुनेंगे तो फिर भी एक बार को implement करेंगे, and they will definitely start from ground zero as long as they don't have the strong concepts. Okay. Thank you so much, Himanshu, for your time.